Hello, Akshaya.
Hello, sir. How are you, sir?
Good. Uh, with me is Akshaya Babu, one of my students from Psychology Advanced course. And I'm going to discuss with her some of the preparation strategy. Purpose is to help the student to understand that how they could approach the exam. Because she has experienced everything, she will explain everything in a better way. And Akshaya Babu has got secured 168th rank in Civil Service Examination 2022, and she has got 295 marks. It is pretty good mark. So 300 around marks is very good. So now Akshaya will tell that Akshaya, what is your educational background? And you just tell my other students, fellow students or viewers, so that they could understand you and get motivated.
Sir, I graduated in 2017 from BITS Pilani, KK Birla, Goa campus, sir. I graduated in electronics and instrumentation engineering, sir. After which I worked for 2 years in the private sector. I worked in the electronics sector, and then I worked in venture capital. And then finally, I started giving this exam in 2018. I started preparation in 2018. So 2019, I started giving this exam, sir. So 2019 was my first attempt. Technically, this is my fourth attempt. But psychology has been my optional throughout, and I scored 267 in psychology in 2020 attempt. When I didn't make it to the final list, I lost the final list by 10 marks. This time I've secured 295, sir, and the 168th rank as well.
Before I go further, just tell me one thing. You were, working in some sector, and then what motivated you to come for civil service examinations? Because they will say that it is a big mess and it requires a lot of things, motivation. So when you have a job, then what motivated you? I'm just asking.
So unlike people who would have had this dream since college or school, for me the first interface to this exam came when one of my colleagues was preparing in my company. And then after I learned about this exam, I really liked the job profile of the civil servants, because they were very public oriented, and at the same time they got to work in different sectors as well. So both of these factors motivated me to start preparing for the exams, and I read a lot about the kind of work that civil servants are doing in India, and I found that it's a very meaningful career to have. So that's why I started
Everybody,
preparing.
everybody have this kind of thing in their answer. But I'm just asking that, uh, was there some pressure from parents side or some inspiration from other side in family? They motivated you? No,
No, sir, like none of my
not.
families, and yeah, yes, sir. But my father is working in the railways, so he's part of
Hmm.
the integral coach factory in Chennai. He works there, but even then my parents never suggested me to do this, or they never had any kind of pressure either. So it was my decision all along, and they had supported me throughout.
In northern India, it happens that right from the beginning, parents are also
Uh-huh.
motivated. That my
Yes, sir.
children will do this right from the beginning.
Yes, sir.
Anyway,
Yes, sir.
uh,
My journey has been
then,
different,
then
that is.
well, slightly different. And then when you started preparing, then very first question comes in mind that how to prepare. Getting this thing now. What will be my strategy and all. And among that, one of the biggest question is that how to select optional subject. For psychology, there are perceptions that it is not very scoring. It is study material is scarce, बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं है. Then among all these confusion and dilemma, how do you know what motivated you to go for psychology optional? If you ask 100 students, then most of them will 90 plus would say that go for PSI, go for
Mm.
sociology, anthropology. Psychology, oh, not very useful. Generally, this is the perception. Despite all these things, what motivated you to go for this option? This is a big question. Because in general, students have perception that parents say, people say, seniors say, that teachers say that it is better you go for this option. This will help in GS and all. These kind of things are there. So, what was your, criteria, or you can say that what factors made you to select this option? Okay.
So for me, when I started reading about what kind of optional I can pick, I was already interested in psychology, sir. I used to watch the crash course videos on YouTube, and I also watched a few psychologists videos. So I was, as such, I had a general interest on the subject. So when I saw that it was an optional in in this exam, I wanted to use this opportunity to learn about psychology. So interest was a major factor, sir. Interest which was there before, but was more of a layman interest in the subject. But to score, we obviously have to prepare a lot. But the layman interest was the first was my first path towards psychology. And I had also read that many toppers had who had scored well had a major interest in their optional, which is needed because we have to prepare for this exam for a long period of time. And if we don't have interest on a particular subject, it's very difficult to continue the momentum and read more, because optional requires specialization. So we have to have that intrinsic interest in the subject. So firstly, that was it was
It was
interest.
your interest. It was your interest that motivated you.
Yes,
But what about that kind of confusion that it is not scoring? It is
yes,
material is very limited. What kind of did you get this kind of confusion or not
yes,
that
it
time?
was definitely there. So because there were many other popular optionals that people took, and I was also considering those. But this was it was a coincidence that during this time when I was picking an optional, Mitali Sethi ma'am had scored 50s rank that year, and she had written a detailed blog about where the area she prepared from and what sources she referred to. And I also saw her answer sheets and saw that I can also answer those kind of questions. And because somebody has already scored this high, it gave me a further spark to choose
302
this.
marks.
Yes, sir.
Now
Yes,
I
sir.
understand.
She also got
Now I
a high score. Yes, so one of my seniors also, Prabhav, he also had scored high marks on in psychology. So I did see that there were people, although the numbers were less, but there were still people who had good interest on the subject and they were able to score high, sir. So I thought if I had interest, then I also would be able to score high.
yeah. Yes, but this is a perception. No? That is why I'm asking.
Yes, sir. Yes, the perception is there, sir, but it's all their individual choice of choosing which optional they want. Because
Several of my students have asked this thing that you must ask when you are you will be asking questions. Then you must ask this question that what was the preparation strategy?
hmm,
Uh, what was the how much you were, how you planned your study for psychology of? They asked for everything, but I'm asking just about the psychology of. What was the preparation strategy? Right from the beginning, you were clear that you will whether you will go for coaching or you will do self study. How you worked out all these things?
so like I had joined your classes right after I decided to give psychology. So that gave me a major source from where I can pick basic concepts from. So that was there, sir. But coming to
I'm interrupting.
preparation,
I am interrupting. Just first question is that people say that I will do of from self study or should I take coaching? So what made you think? How you decided that I will go for coaching? People have asked about this. So first you answer this question.
okay, sir. Okay. So for coaching, so as such, the guidance and material available for psychology is very less. And that is why I was clear that I needed some sort of coaching, because I was also not from this background. I was from an engineering background, so I needed some introduction into this subject. And as I had mentioned before, Mitali Sethi ma'am had taken test series in your institute, so she had mentioned it in her blog. That's how I had gotten in contact with you, sir. But I definitely wanted to take coaching because of the reason, because I did not come from this background. And but it depends, sir. If somebody has, or if they graduate in psychology, then maybe they might not need. But those who are not from this background, if they take some sort of coaching, it helps them build a base in the subject, sir.
Okay, good. And see, question is that how you approach specifically paperwork. This is the next question. That what was your strategy for paper one, approach for paper?
Okay, sir. Sir, for paper one, I made syllabus wise notes, sir. Syllabus wise notes, for notes for every topic in the syllabus. So there, for making notes, I had referred to number one. I had referred to NCRT, sir. I'd read NCRT multiple times because it has introduction to the concepts. It has interactive. It has an interactive way of explaining concepts as well as examples, standard diagrams. They're all available in NCRT, sir. So I picked up from the NCRT number one, sir. Number two, I also referred to the material that was given in our coaching institute because you had also given syllabus wise notes. And number three, I refer to the notes by Mitali Sethi ma'am. I refer to notes by Prabhav sir. I'll probably mention it. Mention the link after the video. And I'd also refer to Inserio sir's notes, sir. He was also one of the toppers who had gotten 300 plus in psychology in 2017, if I'm not wrong. He also has notes in his website. So I referred to all of these notes and I made a consolidated notes by myself. I had made that syllabus wise, sir.
People are yes, yes, please.
Yes, sir. So number one was the notes that I made, sir, syllabus wise. After that, I took the previous year's questions and then I tried to apply these concepts in the previous year questions. So there I refined my writing style. And again, you had also conducted a test series that year. So again, I learned how to apply these notes in the test series. So, and I also improved on those notes because material were given in the test series, which helped me improve. And if there were some PYQ questions which I couldn't solve, then I Googled them, I read more about them, and I added that content also into my notes. So my notes became this one place where I had everything in one place. I had made it online and I had made it syllabus wise. Syllabus wise,
yes.
chapter wise, and sub syllabus wise as well.
Yes, you want to say this thing that you made your own notes also by referring all these things. You made your own notes also. No?
Yes,
I think
sir, yes, sir.
You're trying to say this thing.
Yes, I made my own notes. I made my own notes and I refined them. I refer to them only, sir. No extra materials.
See, from concept learning, theory learning. So learning is one thing. When you actually write the answer, then I have seen also you were writing so many answers, very regular, and you got evaluated also. So what is the most important? You find that concept learning, people have learned concept, but when you say that you are writing your answers, then evaluations, then feedback, then again learning, it is a process. So I'm just making it clear that concept you can learn, but you will actually perform only when you will try to answer the question. So writing answer is very important, and that is the culmination of all the knowledge that you have. Okay.
Yes, sir. So before we continue, I would like to mention one more source which I remember is a YouTube channel called Psych Exam Review. So it was also mentioned by one of the toppers, Anindya Rajashri, last year, and she had referred to this. And it is a professor a Harvard professor, if I'm not wrong. He explains these psychological concepts in detail. So he explains and he gives examples as well. So in case somebody wants extra, they want to enhance their answers, and they can refer to this as well.
So many sources are there. You can make use of.
Yes, so many sources.
So the general perception is that there is limited resource or sources, but now you are telling that there are so many sources. You can use. Anyway, and what about paper? You have not mentioned Robert Barron book. Did you refer that?
Oh, yes. I'm so sorry. I forgot the standard book that people refer to, which is Robert
Okay.
Barron. And some people refer to Cicerelli as well, but I never refer to it. I just used only Barron.
Mhm. And did you follow any different strategy for paper two?
Sir, apart from Smarak Swain's notes and your material, I had myself Googled the different syllabus concepts, sir. So they were
Mhm.
given, so that there are many links that come once we Google, let's say, sports psychology or military psychology. So there will be
Mm,
some research paper quoted or some current example written in some magazine like Psychology
mm,
Today and so on. So once we collect all of that, it adds material to what is already there in the base book of Smarak Swain. So I just added, sir, and at times I even linked paper one with paper two and paper two with paper one. But this probably comes after we've made our notes, after our concepts are clear. We have to
mm.
link both paper one and paper two. It is said that, it's very, very beneficial in getting more marks. So
I often say this thing that sometimes you may get new situations to apply your knowledge. So there you will not be provided ready-made answer. So whatever knowledge and concept you have out of paper one, theoretical knowledge, conceptual knowledge, that you can put into that. You can make yourself ready.
yes,
So
sir.
psychology is not about that mugging up everything. You cannot the basic concept you can learn, but how psychology can be applied for controlling terrorism, how psychology could be applied for controlling pollution. These are the things of application. So, from the behavioral perspective of using behavioral framework, one can use yeah, psychology in a varieties of it and can suggest this. For example, that motivational framework. That motivation play a very important role in any behavior. So, when how to motivate. So, there are different principles of motivation. So once when you say that if you give good reason to people to get motivated, then people will do this. So there are principles of that. Get it? If
Yes,
you
sir.
reward that thing, that is behavioral principle. So having knowledge of something and then applying slightly different approach, I think is that in paper two, uh, issues and applications are it is well defined in the syllabus. The paper two say that issues and application based. So I think because in paper one or paper two, in which paper you got better mark?
Then I got more marks in paper one. I got 151 in paper one. Yes, I got,
Because there are students who got better marks in paper two, like that.
yes, yes,
So this happens. Even I think Mitali also got a good mark, better marks in paper two. Anyway,
yes.
okay, uh, come forward. That when you uh, prepare for UPSC examinations, now it is said that all these things, you 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 are not sometimes you are not very sure how much marks I will get.
So can you
So
please repeat
when
the
you are,
question, sir? The audio went off.
I'm asking that suppose you have prepared everything of your own or taking help from different sources. Now you are uh, okay. Now when you are writing, when you have written the exam, many people are sure that I should get reasonably this much marks and all. So having after giving the examination, what was your feeling when you came out of the examination hall after performing in psychology? Were you expecting that I would get good marks this time with your
Sir,
performance? What was your feeling?
sir, I was expecting high marks, sir, because in 2020 I didn't know how much I'll get. But then I got 267 in 2020. So then I knew that my base was right in psychology. I just improved upon the content more in the last 1 year I had between that attempt and this attempt. So I added more examples. I learned how to write better because in the test series again, emphasis was laid on answering exactly to what I was asked in the question, especially 10 markers. So I did all those small changes this year, and I knew that I was going to score high, sir, but I didn't know exactly how much I'll score. But I knew that I had peaked in psychology. There was nothing more I can do.
Mm.
I think more I can do to get more marks, honestly. So I had probably ticked all the boxes which I thought was needed to get more marks in psychology. So
Okay, okay. No, no, the kind of answer you were writing, in the
yes,
test series, that were quite good.
hmm,
Quality was good. That is why I predicted also that you should get good marks.
yes,
If one people are getting around, 270 above, so generally it is said that okay, you are in good. It could be
hmm,
300 plus also, sometimes 290 also, 280 also, but 270 above, when you reach, then you are in a say that you should be satisfied,
yes, sir,
because around this much, you will get, even in toppers also will get this kind of, within this range, you will get marks in it. One thing more that people generally ask, that yes, that when you prepare for this examination, you are not very sure that when you will get success. Okay, sometimes you try hard, even harder, and then you find that there is failure. Couldn't. That time, how did you motivate yourself? This one, I'm just asking your own emotional experience throughout your preparation. There is a ready-made answers that I work hard, maintain consistency. But I want to say this thing, that preaching that maintain consistency is one thing, and maintaining consistency is another thing. So, what was your emotional experience throughout this preparation, and what you want to share?
So for me, there were several highs and lows because this is my fourth attempt, and everywhere I had lost by a margin. If we look at 2019, which was my first attempt, I had lost the mains by 10 marks. And then in 2020, I went to the interview and lost it by 10 marks. Again in 2019, I couldn't clear the prelims by 1 mark. So for me, everywhere there was some objective criteria I can improve on, sir. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to give the exam again and again, according to me at least. So I had clear areas where I can work on and I can improve. So that is why I decided to give it one more chance. And I guess that should be our objective criteria because the exam is getting tougher every year, in my opinion. So we have to be very careful about how we approach this exam. So for me, whenever there was some low, when I couldn't clear the exam, like in 2020, I couldn't make it to the list, and I couldn't clear the pre also the next year. So for me, it was like I'll give one more attempt, wherein I'll improve on my low score in SA and GS that year, which I had. So after looking at my mark sheet, I had clear areas where I had to improve on. That is why I worked on them and I improved, and I have improved on them as well. So this time my main score is around 813. It's 813. So only after identifying where I was lacking and what can be done, I continued giving this exam. So that's what gives motivation. So because once we start preparing for this exam, we often don't know what will happen. We often don't know if we'll clear any of these stages. At least we can go for the interview and still not clear prelims. So we should be where clear about our journey in this exam, and if we can improve or not. If we can improve, and if there are clear areas where we can improve, we should give again, sir. And that is the source of motivation, sir, because when we start preparing, we'll have high motivation of oh ye kar denge, wo kar denge, etc., etc. But it is that positive cycle that continues our motivation. First, we
So what was
identify.
I was asking
Yeah, yes, sir.
what was the resiliency factor, that what made you to bounce back? That suppose you couldn't clear the next time, again next time some issue, again next time. So this was, despite facing these failures, what was the resiliency factor? So generally say that people say, generally I have seen the interview, that emotional support from parents and family, friends, and okay. But my question is, that is okay. But my question is here, or other student, that how you maintain your sanity, how maintain your logical thinking, because generally when you fail, when you meet with failure, your logical thinking get affected. So what was the point, that, or you focused upon? No, I will do this thing. Then next time I will definitely make a change. Or probably make a change. So don't say. So how you started thinking that way? I'm asking that thing. What was your thought pattern that
Perfect.
pulled you from the failure mess?
Hmm.
That was the mess that बार बार फेल हो रहे हैं आप. तो कैसे अपने को हटाया कि नहीं मुझे इससे निकालना, तो आपने शायद बताया. आई 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 जस्ट heard that thing, that is that I noted that there I can improve.
Yes, sir.
Where are the clear scope of improvement I noted, and then you worked about
Yes, sir.
it. I think you said this.
Yes, sir.
Other students will also learn from it, that because when you have clear cut, when you diagnose and you know this thing, that here is the scope of improvement,
Hmm. Hmm.
that give you reason to work again.
Yes.
But when you are totally confused that you do not know why this failure, then in that case it becomes more difficult. I think so. Okay, finally, you have shared your experience.
Yes.
Uh, Two more questions. One
Yes.
thing, that what when you joined my coaching institute, or I think you joined for advanced psychology course, where we provide classes and test series everything. Uh, what was your expectation, and how you feel now? That जितना एक्सपेक्टेशन करके ज्वाइन किया था, पूरे जर्नी में एक पर्सनल मेंटरिंग करेंगे, इस तरह का होता है. एंड नाउ हाउ यू फील अबाउट दैट? यू फील सेटिस्फाइड, और विल यू सजेस्ट समथिंग टू improve? I'm just asking.
Yes, sir. So I'm highly satisfied with this because, as I told you before, I had no background in psychology. So for me, for me to get online classes, because I was based out of Chennai and and had taken online classes out of Delhi, it was very convenient. I could take this online coaching and I could learn the concepts as well, sir. But I think what sets probably Beautiful Mind-IAS apart is this personal mentoring, sir. We had just spoken about highs and lows in this exam. So whenever there were lows, you had always encouraged me. You had told me that there were some areas I have to improve on. And I remember that there was even a course on daily answer writing that you had conducted when I didn't make it in one of the attempts. So I had used that all and to improve slowly in this exam, sir. So I think for Beautiful Mind IAS, this personal mentoring as well as the clear explanation of concepts is a USP. uh, because uh, because a lot of people might just rush through the syllabus without explaining things in detail, but that doesn't happen here. So you take your time and you also allow doubts to be cleared, and then you move on to the next concept. So I think that's very useful for aspirants, because you need a clear understanding of the concepts to score higher in this exam.
I
So
always say in the classroom that when people ask that what will be my, how you define different, you will have a mentor, you can ask any question.
yes, exactly.
This is the difference.
Yes, so it's the
This is the
mentorship that
difference.
matters. So because it's a long haul and you need somebody who knows your strengths and weaknesses to tell you where all to improve on. So I think that makes a difference. So for myself, you kept on suggesting that I have to improve the clarity of my answers in 10 markers, because that was something I was struggling with. 15 markers, 20 markers was still okay because there was more space to write. So you can cover all aspects, but 10 markers was very difficult for me. So that is when you had refined my strategy by asking me to write in paragraphs and not in points in 10 markers. So that also helped me, sir.
Depend upon that how you present that.
Yes, sir.
See, I want to share with those individuals my experience who are watching this video, that this girl is very humble. She has worked a lot. So self-study and whatever effort she has put in, that was the major factor in her success. Yes, being a teacher, I provided objective evaluations, feedback. Time to time, I motivated. All these things teacher will do, and I will also do this. The best thing is that I can provide you personal mentoring. You can ask any question. So this is the thing. and my online and offline classes are same. This is the things I want to. Akshaya is the testimonial for that. And thank you, Akshaya. You have explained everything, particularly your emotional experience, your detailed approach, and if required, if people will ask some other questions, then I will conduct another session in future, and then I will take note of those specific questions. So thank you again for being with us
Yes,
and sharing all of your experience. And do you want to say anything that in a closing sentence that I have not asked you? हमने शायद कुछ वो नहीं पूछा जो आप बताना चाहते
sir. I think maybe we can touch upon a little bit on answer writing because we probably didn't look at that. For those who feel that they cannot write good answers in psychology or have this block about writing answers, I would suggest that please pick up the PYQ, make model answers of every PYQ, and write a good introduction and a conclusion for all the answers in the PYQ, because only then will we understand where all the questions come from frequently, because questions are repeated in psychology. So we understand those
right?
areas where they're looking at. Yes, sir. So write those model answers as well as write a test series to improve the confidence on in psychology. So that is something I'd like to say. But in conclusion, sir, I would like to say that psychology is a great option for those who are interested in this, because if you look at the other GS, everybody studies them, and SAP per and so on. But psychology is this fresh, it's a breath of fresh air. We never get tired reading psychology. If you're interested in it, you just want to read more and more about it. So
If you
it
have
helps
interest
in
in the
this.
subject, you can enjoy.
Yes, you can enjoy so,
And
because optional is it's, as I said before, interest is a
it is
major.
much deeper.
Yes, yes,
Because
yes.
many people have logic that you should take optional will help in GS. Then I always say that by your this logic, everybody should go for political science and then public administration, then geography. Why mechanical engineering? Why mathematics and why physics? Correct? Why
Yes,
psychology?
yes,
Because
sir.
in optional you will always get very deeper questions. So
Mm-hmm.
GS is level of GS and optional is different. So don't be. Uh, I think you should explore this question properly and uh,
Yes, sir.
before taking decision, you should think over this thing that whether you will be able to do justice with the question. थैंक यू अक्षय अगले
Thank you
वीडियो में
very
कभी
much.
बात करेंगे और किसी और रिमेनिंग क्वेश्चन थैंक यू वेरी
Yes,
मच
sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.